Hey folks, welcome to the stream. Who knows what time it is wherever you are, but it's afternoon here, so good afternoon. We're going to continue on with our what can you say, our end screen, our score screen widget, and to do that we shall carry on with our score struct and just gradually add to it, basically. Is it rating? I guess it's going to be high score ratings. Okay, now we're going to have to calculate this out, and what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to set time taken in the levels for targets, right? So what we'll do is we shall actually do that, right? Right, let's have a look to see what we have here. So we've got maps and we've got struct level, right? And we've got ratings, scores, and then what we want in here is time targets, and that is going to be a float, and it's going to be an array. Not sure this one. Yeah, that's also going to be an array, because we're going to have like a sliding scale for the rating, and then we're going to have a sliding scale for the target. Okay. So we have got DT levels, and we'll move it into here so that they're all in the same place. Right, so you can see our rating scores here, and I'm not too sure how many rating times we'll have, but what we'll do is we shall default it to 5, right? And let's say we're going to do this in seconds, right? So we'll take a minute off each time, except right, we'll do it in the same, we'll do it in this case it's going to be descending, whereas in the scores it's ascending, right? So we'll say 600 as in 600 seconds, which is 10 minutes. Then we shall say 560, which is 8 minutes. And then we'll do 360. This is just default, by the way. So then finally we'll do 150. Okay. So that gives us our different things. Now, actually, there is something we could work on here, right? What we're going to have to do is in our saved game, and in our instance, we're going to have to say whether a level is locked or not, right? So the question is, do we have anything for that? The answer appears to be no, right? So what we'll do is we shall create another structure, right? And we shall call it level status, right? So we'll have level number and this is a bit like the options, right, where we basically make a struct. We set the defaults at the start of the game, and then when they first load it, the game, we set the defaults up and load it into the game instance, and then it gradually gets saved as like you unlock levels, right? So for example, everything will start locked apart from level 1, right? So we'll have level number whether it's locked, and I suppose the level name would do, right? This will just keep us, if it's in the game instance, then we can use it pretty simply, right? And we can also use it in our end screen as well. Okay, so level number, whether it's locked, and the level name. Okay, and then in our data, we'll need to create a data table for it, right? But we're only ever going to use this data table once. So we'll say DT level status, and then we'll add 2 rows, right? And the row is going to be the same as the level number, so we can get to it easily. Right? And we're going to put 2, and that is going to be locked. And we can do we can do this. This is a bit of we're copying data here, but in this case it's not that much, and I'm not that bothered about it. We can amend this later if we wish to. Okay. So we have our data table, And now if we go to blueprints and main, we can go to our SG Chronicles and we can just do levels. Hi new Windows, how are you? I'm fine, how are you? So we're going to do this as struct, that's if I can spell, level status, and it's going to be an array. So we'll save that, and then we go into our instance and we do the same thing. So we say levels, and this is going to be struct level status, and it's going to be that. Right, so we're getting on with that. And now we basically have to load it up when we begin play, which is in here. This is our begin play, and it looks like we're going to have to start kind of tidying it up a bit, I suppose. And actually it's not in here, it's actually in this controller, right? So we've got to do something in here. Okay. And that is an extra bit of code. So we're going to drag this up into line. We have already doing a database thing, a data table thing, so what we'll do is we shall muck that up. So move this across. And how are you today, new Windows? So we are basically going to do that and that, and funnily enough we're going to be pretty much doing what we're doing here, right? Except we're going to be getting it from DT levels, right? And we're going to be doing for each loop. Right now, yep, we're going to be doing the same thing as this. Okay. And it's going to come from DT levels. And then we're going to duplicate that. Then we're going to say levels. And then we're going to add unique. Add would do it, but I'm just going to do add unique for super safety. That goes in there. And our out row okay, that's fine. We're going to do that. We're going to break that. Right, I'm pulling for the wrong table here. It should be level status. Duh. Okay. So we plug that in there. And let's straighten this out. Okay. Save that. Go back to our event graph. And the next thing we do is we get the levels. And we basically set the levels here. This is us setting it in the instance now, right? Right, straighten that up, grab these, alignment, align right, there we go. Double click that, add reroute node, straighten connection to the reroute node, there we go. And for this, yeah, we're not doing that anymore. What I'll do is I'll remove that. Then I shall plug this in here. Save that. And there we go. So we now have our level settings being passed into, right, so the next thing we need to do, and I shall explain in a second, but we now have our level statuses being added to our game instance, which we need for when we set up our gateway. I have just deleted the save game at this point, right? So the next time we start the game, we're going to have, basically it's going to go in here and set up the correct settings. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is we need to go into our maps, right, and get the gateway level. Okay, and once we've got the gateway level, if we go to the viewport, but first of all, we need to get our level select. Right, so this is our picture level, and we need to now check if right, so it never does this, right, so don't worry about this part, right, and we basically aren't going to be doing that stuff either. Okay, so this level data isn't actually what we need. We could use it, but it's not really the stuff we need for this particular. What we can do is we can change this to struct level status. Okay, and this is now going to go in here, and we refresh the nodes, and now we are going to need this as well. Right, okay, that's fine. So we'll get this level data. And we'll change this back. Okay. We'll save all that. And then what we'll do is we'll duplicate this. And we'll call it level status. Okay. And then we're going to be setting this. Right, so we're going to be getting level status, and this is going to go in here. So we'll drag this down a little bit. This is going to go in here. Then we're going to drag that in there. And this is going to get moved over a bit. And that can go there. Okay, so we can now use the level data for our picture. And we can use our level status to decide whether we're going to do the texture fade in or not. Okay. So first thing we're going to do here is we're not going to do this. If this level is not available. So we're going to get our level status, we're going to break it, and then we're going to branch on our locked. Okay. So we're going to pull off of this and say not, so that we can keep it on true and all in line and all nice looking and tidy. So if it's not locked, it's allowed to do that, right? And we'll be doing the same for our texture thing. So we shall basically just copy and paste that. And we can basically drag these out. Right, and duplicate that as well while we're at it, and basically plug that in there. And then if it's locked, we do nothing, and if it isn't locked, then we do our fade of the material. Okay, and we actually don't need it here, but I'm just going to put it in anyway. And we can save that, and we can now test this because our second, well, let's check it. If we go up here, this should work because this is unlocked, right? If we go to here, nothing happens, right? Because it's locked, right? So in effect, the room is going to look like, until you've actually, see, you might think that this is a level, but it's not, right? And you might think that's not a level because it's not doing anything, right? But it actually is. It's just because it's not locked, right? Because if I do this, right, and I go to our DT level status and I set this to false, save that, then I press play, both of them should work, right? And there we go. So there is our data table instruct determining what level that you can actually do. Okay. And again, if we have a look at this and we call that locked, and we could actually call that locked as well, even though we'll need to make sure that it's not locked when we start, right? But if we press play here, then you'll notice that nothing is available. Okay? And there we go. Unavailable. The kind of giveaway is the fact that this particular painting is off-centered. So yeah, pretty nice. Now, one major thing that I noticed last night while I was fixing some issues with little things being out of line is that we can't have a turn next to a door. Okay? Because the door and the turn don't match. I'll show you what I mean. Like, see that there? Okay. So, because the door and the turn don't match, we are going to have to, in this case, move the turn basically up a step. And I'll show you what I mean by that in a second. Now you'll see that now, okay, I don't think it is a problem. I think it's this door section that's a problem. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring another door in. Okay, and we're going to zero that. Then I'm going to put it in line at the right angle. And now we're going to dive in here. And that still isn't quite right. Right? Which kind of tells me that there's something right. Let's drag in a straight. Right, so these are two brand new parts. and we're going to check this out to see what the problem is. If indeed there is a problem, or if there's something weird going on. Right, so that's definitely in line. And yeah, this door needs something done, basically. Right, because basically the door piece does not fit correctly. Right, so we're going to have to do something with the door then. Right? And it is basically the fact that this here should not be at the end, it should be there. And this should be here. Right, so now let's see where we are. It needs to come in one more, actually. Now the question is, did that update? And these need to come in one more to there. And that needs to come into there, which is kind of right, because look, there's the lines of change. Right, so now you'll see this is much better. Except for the fact we now need to reposition those lights. Right, so this has become a bit of a pain in the neck. And we could actually get away with moving those pillars. Right. We're going to have to move these 10 at a time, I believe. And that was 2, wasn't it? And then we're going to have to move these lights. Right, so that should be better. Right. That should solve a few problems. then this should be able to line up here. And we change it back to our 50. We delete this part, and then we move this in, and that has basically solved what would have been a big problem for us. Right? And potentially this was the problem I had before. Right? I'm going to run this for now. And see how we're looking. Now, I'm still investigating. I'm going to turn the volume down a bit. Right, I'm still investigating getting dirt on the walls, the best way to do that, right? Because at the moment, obviously, our building is looking very pristine, and a haunted mansion with various bad guys and vampires that eat people and drink their blood ain't gonna look pristine. Or at least I wouldn't have thought so. Now, this one's a mini map. Right, no, that's actually okay, because that's an end blocker. So what we want to do is just wander around the level and see if there's any graphical glitches in corners, if there's anything offline a bit that's going to cause us issues. There was one area that I found yesterday that looked like a problem, right? But it might have been that issue that I've just fixed with the doors, right? Now, the interesting thing here is going to be the amount of time this takes as well. We'll go up here. Right, so there is some stuff up here. Ah, see that one? Right, these are the types of issues that I want to solve. Right, so right where I am, that one there is a problem. Right? So we just replace it and carry on. Right, we'll dive in here and have a look, and that now looks a-okay. And this looks okay. There's nothing weird going on up here. Right. Let me get a sip of my coffee. We shall try this again. If you're enjoying the stream, hit like and subscribe. All that good stuff. Right, we'll go up this way this time. Now, the good thing about going this way is it's basically the end. We can go to an end point where I've not finished it off yet. Then we can leave one pickup. Right? This one here. So that we don't actually accidentally finish the level by mistake. Right. As I said, we're not trying to complete the level here as such. We're just looking for any graphical problems or like blocks out of line. And we're actually back at the start. Because there's the start there. Right, so we want to go back. And as I said, we just want to basically go through here. Check for graphical glitches. Right, it looks like we've done that part. Right, it looks like we're halfway through at this point. I'm thinking I'm going to have to put a counter on this, a timer, so that you can see how long we've actually been playing. Because I tell you what, I think this level is way too big. right? Hi H, hello. Right, I mean, we're still, right, that's a bit better. Right, how are we doing here? 135. What are you doing? I'm testing to make sure that the level has no rooms or layout parts out of line, because if they did, I would quickly see them and then we can just fix them while we're at it. Now if I collect all our stakes, then that would mean that we've went through the whole level, so we can safely say that our level is looking good. So we are on 164 at this point, and this is the end where I haven't finished it off yet, and we maybe have a, no, we don't have a glitch there, but I know for a fact this joins back on. Right. And basically we want to go back away, I think. And that's the end of that part, and this should be, oh, I missed one. So we should end up with 201, right? And this is the part I haven't finished yet, which is fine, but we do need to pick that one up. And that one, and that one, and that one, and finally that one. Right, so everything is looking good, and we just need to get back to the start now. I've got absolutely zero idea how to do that, but we shall just basically run about until I recognize somewhere. And actually, there we go. This is the start, right? And if we now, let's see how long this took us. It took us nearly 10 minutes. Well, actually, it took us about 7 minutes and 23 seconds. Okay. I'm going to have a quick break for a cigarette. I shall be back in 2 minutes. If you're enjoying the stream, hit like, subscribe. Check out the description for Discord. You're welcome to join Discord. And I shall be right back. Okay, we're back. And let's do our quick Champions League update, because it's Tuesday and it's Champions League day. And it looks like we're no, kickoff has just started. So it looks like Atletico Madrid are out. Yep, they've finished bottom of their group, so they are completely out, not even in the Europa League. They were beaten 2-1 by Porto, and Bayer Leverkusen drew with Club Brugge, which was probably a total fix in Minecraft, because both teams could only do what they actually did. So they'll both be happy. And other games have just kicked off because my clocks didn't go back on Sunday. They go back this weekend, so they've basically just kicked off. So let's get on with it, shall we? Right. So our stuff here is working fantastically well. It looks like I have solved all the little glitches in the setup. I've solved the glitch on the door. We have repositioned everything on the door to be much better. And yeah, we're cool with that. But we do still have one problem. We are going to have to do the door end as well. Right? So we're going to do exactly what we did with the other door layout, right? Which is basically move that 2 in while we're on 50, right? Then we're going to move that 2 in while we're on 50. Then we're going to switch it to 10 units. Then we're going to move this post into 1, 2. We're going to move this post into 1, 2. And then we're going to move our lights into I think I actually did. Did I move that post one too many? I think I did. Yeah, I probably did. Because I noticed I moved that 3. Right, so basically 1, 2. Save all that. And that should be us ready to rock and roll. Okay. So that should have solved any of the little quirks regarding a turn into a door, or basically anything into a door where these weren't in line. Okay. Now, what we'll do is we shall close that down. Close that down. We shall close. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll tidy this up a bit by removing that and plugging that in there. And we'll do the exact same with us, right? Right, and that tidies that right up a bit, and that's great. Okay, so we're happy with that. We now have all of this working nicely. Now, there is something I want to try. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually export this. We don't have an exports folder at the moment in here. I normally have an imports and exports, right? So I'm going to create a folder called exported for change, right? And we're going to do this black plain. And we don't really actually want that. I'm going to close that for now. What I actually want to do I want to try something, right? And I want to try it, and it's going to be in Substance Painter, and then you'll understand why I'm trying it. Because basically what I want to do is create some decals with blood dripping down, right? That's what I want to do. And I need to export a plane to do that. And I don't really want to use Blender, just because I'm kind of lazy that way, but I'm guessing that I'm going to have to, right? So go to general, delete that, delete that, delete that. Then we're going to add a plane. Then we're going to rotate it 90. Okay. Then we're going to go to UV editing. Right. And then okay that. I'm guessing that's it. Right. And then what we're going to do is we're going to export it as an FBX. Then we shall go in here. Then we shall just do it to our Chronicles and exported for change. And we'll just call it plain test, that'll do. And export that. And now that we've done that, what we can do is, if we open Steam, library, Substance Painter, launch it, And Rangers are 1-0 down already. Barcelona are 1-0 up on Victoria Pleasant, but that doesn't matter because they're in the Europa League. Everywhere else 0-0. So basically Rangers have to score 6. Don't see that happening. Right, so we now have this open, and there's a couple of issues here. And we basically have to bring in our plane. Okay, that. Right, and there's our plane. And the next thing we need to do is bake our mesh maps, and we switch off ID. And that's us done. Now this thing here is our UV. Okay, now I've probably done this completely wrong. I don't use this very much, but what we want is an idea of, right, now that I can see my plane, right, we can actually work with it. So what I want is add a layer, and I can't remember how to do this. Now this is the type of thing we're going to use, right? No, it's not, it's particles, right? We're going to use this liquid stream thing, or leaks possibly, but we're going to have a look at it, right? But the other thing I'm going to need to do is we're going to have to get, I can't remember how to do this, it's text or something, we're using a stencil or something like that. And I'm not 100% sure. Wait a minute. There's something tells me I've got to change this to projection or something. Right? And then we've got to select a template to use for this. And I can't remember how to do this. How do I do this again? Actually, you know what? It isn't in projection mode, I don't think. And I can't remember how to do this. It's not that. Right, we're going to have to quickly do a Google on this because I can't remember. Nope, that's not what we want. And that's not the right thing. It does appear to be a brush of some. But I don't see text. If anybody can remember how to do this, then feel free to let me know. Right, but what we can do is do like a leaks like that, right? And we'll just have a play with it just because we're playing now. And let's say our color is that. Then what we can do is basically go like that. And that is not heavy enough, right? So, right, how do we change? How do I make the brush bigger? Is the simple question here. Let's go with that. But you'll see there that we can do that, right? So if we can print the text like help me and then add this at the bottom, it's going to look fine. Right? Our point is that it's too small. And I can't exactly remember how to change the size. I mean, what I know you can do is we could zoom in a bit, and that's going to make it heavier and bigger. Or we can actually do it on the UV. Right? But this is the type of thing we want to do here. And this is the kind of industrial leak. And we can spin this around to be level. But the thing I really want to do here is add some text. Right, now we should be able to do font. That doesn't work. Ah, wait a minute. I think it's coming back to me, guys. I think if we go to, I don't think it's tools, and it's not that. Could, maybe it's not brushes either, but there's one where it's not that one. And is it in? No. There's one here somewhere that basically it's got the writing on it. Right, so like this one. So if we select this font typewriter, right, we can say help me. Okay. But that's not it. Right. So we can't put it in there. I'm not 100% sure where we put this. This should be in the alphas. Right, so there we go. Okay, so we should be able to say help me. Right? And we should be able to rotate it . Right, and then once we've done that, we can delete this one. And this fill layer, then we can change the color . Well, you'd think we could change the color, but apparently we can't. Okay, whatever, we'll leave that for now. Right, now what we should be able to do is add a layer . And then go back to our particles, leaks heavy, and then We're going to undo that. Right. And we're going to change that back to white. And now we can do that. It's a bit much maybe. But you get the idea. Okay. And now what we can do is, I'm going to play with this later, is we can export textures right, and we're going to export it into imports, right, and we're going to say a new folder, and we're going to call it messages, right, and we'll select that folder. Then we go to configure Unreal Engine 4. We're only really going to need the base color for this, but we'll just export these anyway. And yep, that should do us. And on that, I think we'll just finish off because there's nobody watching. And it's a bit quiet today, so if you've enjoyed the stream, thanks for watching. And we shall see you soon. In fact, tonight at 8 PM Central. And check out the description for ways to support the channel. I shall see you later, guys.